Hello everyone, very good evening. So, welcome back here for another session for 360-degree TMG with respect to Python programming. So, friends, we were discussing different features, different functions, right? About the Python tool, right? So now, today, yesterday we were talking about file handling, right? And then how try and accept, how a raise keyword will help us to tolerate the errors. So when we try to work with any error, right, there should be an exception for that. You can use the different keywords. You can use conditional statements. In that you can use raise keyword and you can solve the problem. So when we are talking about file handling is you are trying to pull the data, do changes, do override, read the lines, right? In the particular data, whatever you have pulled is what is a file handling. So what is a function we use for file handling? How do you work with file handling? How file handling happens in Python? So when we talk, it is very important. A file should be handled is very important part for any web application, right? You have to create it, you have to read it, you have to update it, and you have to delete the files if not required. So the key function for working with the files in Python, what is that function? Open function. Sorry, it's the open function. This open function is taking two parameters, that is our file name and the mode. When you talk about these modes are many types, right? Modes. What is our mode going to do? It is going to read. This is a default value. It will open a file, right? For reading. It will throw you an error if the file does not exist. Whatever you have given the path, yesterday we have given the path, right? The file does not open or the file does not exist, you will get error. Suppose you want to append it. Append the same function like we have it in our list, right? Append. It will open a file for appending, creates a file if the file is not existing. It will create a file if it does not exist, right? Then you have write. Basic English, write it. Open a file for writing. It also creates a file, it does not exist, right? It writes. Then you have X, to create a specified file, okay? A specified file. Suppose that file already exists, it returns an error. Returns an error if that particular file exists, right? So what is the syntax now? You can say open, it is a function. You can create any file, txt file, something like demo. You want to read it, you want to write it. What is that? You have to give it here. Make sure that your file will exist, otherwise it is going to throw an error for us, right? So different functions, like you have f dot read function after you open it. If the file is located in a different location, you have to specify the path. Instead of this, you will specify the total path. Right? If at all you want to open it from a different location. If at all you want to read only first 5 characters, you put 5 in the read function. If at all you want to read the lines, it's like 100 lines, 200 lines in the document, you can use whatever the function is saved. Wherever it is saved, you should use read lines. Right? Read line, not lines, line. If at all you call read lines 2 times, you can read the first 2 lines. By looping to the lines of the file, you can read the whole file line by line also. How do you close your file? F dot close function will close your file. Right? So, if at all you want to open a file and append the content to a file, what is the procedure you should follow? If at all you want to open, first you open a file by giving a, right? Then you write it, a content, then you close it, right? Afterwards, you can direct open it, read the content. Right? Suppose if at all you want to not open anything, you have already a file existing and you want to override the content. If at all you want to override the content, you should open file, comma, write it as W. Then use f dot write with hi. Right? So what it will do, whatever the earlier content is there in this demo.1.txt, it will be overridden. Right? This will be overriding your document, whatever text is there in the document. W method you're writing here will override the entire file. Right? So these are the few things what we have discussed yesterday. So Python has one more feature here, which is object-oriented programming and functional-oriented programming. So it includes few, like, it's not of a single functionality it holds. It has shell scripting, modular programming, dynamic programming, scripting. So many things are there here. But what is that we are using here is object-oriented programming concept, how we are able to use it. Right? Object-oriented programming, those features, that OOPS concept in Python. Right? So what are the things you will learn as a part of this? Like what features you have, what features it has. So it is nothing but a concept of user, objects, and classes. The programming. It aims to implement the real world entities, I can say, like inheritance, polymorphism. Right? You can use this both, right? Encapsulation, etc. in the programming. The main concept of OOPS is to bind the data and the functions that work on the together as a single unit, so that no other part of the code will access to that particular data. What are the main concepts under OOP? You have like a class, you have objects, you have polymorphism, encapsulation, and inheritance. These are the things what we can use in Python also. Right? What is a class? First of all, let's understand what is a class. Class is something, it is a collection of objects. It is collection of objects. A class contains what you say, we can say blueprints, we say, right? Which from a class objects are created. It is a logical entity. It contains attributes and it contains methods, right? So creating a class. Let's say, suppose you want to track dogs. Okay, track the number of dogs. Just for example, understanding the concept. So there are different attributes, right? You have breed of the dog, age of the dog. If a list is used, the first element could be this. In the list, you will mention breed, you will mention age. So if at all there are 100 dogs, then how would you know which element is supposed to be what? What if you want to add other properties, right? So it's exact, this is required for class. So classes are created by a keyword called class. Attributes, these are nothing but, these are called as variables that belong to this particular class. How do you want to access to these attributes? Right? You can just write class dot attribute. Right? How is the syntax here? You write your class, you write your class name, you end the connection with a colon. You write your number of statements. Okay. You can also create an empty class. You can give just a class now as I gave dog. Nothing can be passed. You should use pass keyword. Class named dog using the class keyword. Right? But what is this object? What is this object? Since Python is an object-oriented language, we have to know now the classes, what is this, what is that, right? What is an object now? Object is an entity. It has some behavior associated with it. Right? Like you have integers, you have strings, you have floating numbers, arrays, dictionaries, all these are objects. Right? If at all a number 12 is there, it's an object. You have a string hello, it is an object. Right? A list is an object that can hold another objects. Right? So an object consists of a state, it can consist of a behavior, it can consist of an identity. So what is that? If at all you're talking about identity, for a dog example, identity can be considered as the name of the dog, right? Identity is nothing but how do you identify that it's the dog. You have attributes, they are nothing but, as I told, age, breed, color, variables. Behavior is something we have. What is a behavior? It can be just talking about whether the dog is sitting or sleeping. How do you create it? I have created a class dog colon. Right? I have created a class dog colon and I have passed. So if at all I want to create an object, right? I say like this. Now object is equal to dog. This will create an object named, this is obj of this class dog. Dog is defined here. This is this one. Right? So let us see these things here. See here, there is an example with respect to employees. Imagine now, this is like, we will not deep dive into it. It's like high level of understanding how you can use Python, right? With the properties of the characteristics of oops in Python. Okay, see here I have created a class for employees and I've created a pass. If you have taken this just pass, it did not create anything inside the class. It's a pass. What is that I'm trying to do here? If at all I have to do, I will create a class. It should have a total information of all the employees in the class, right? Now what am I doing? See here, I have created, right? See here, this one. This is my class. This is my obj for a previous example if you can connect it, right? So this is my object, right? So now if at all I have two employees, this is also called as I can create a constructor. This is called as a constructor, right? This is also one more constructor. So I'm saying that this is employee 1 and this is employee 2. Two constructors I have created for two employees. Now I'm saying employee 1, the first name, employee 1, last name, employee email, employee salary. So I'm trying to take the details here of all the employees in the organization. So if I have to write all this, 4 lines of code, 4 lines of statements, right? Now the main class here is employee class. The code became very, very big. If at all I have 1,000 employees, at least 100 employees also the code is very big. Why don't we come up with some simple logic? It should be, see, I told you, the simpler, the best. Right? If at all it pops up any errors also, it is easy for us to clear them. In this, if at all I just run this, I'm saying print, I have the information, right? Employee 1's name, last name, email, salary. Another employee. Okay. I'm just asking it, employee 1, print employee 1's email ID. So my email ID is printed. Employee 2 dot email ID, my email ID is printed. Right? So what is that? This is showing you, this is a type employee 1. What is EMP1? EMP1 is belonging to main class. The employee class. The main class is the employee class. So to cut short this, right, I have to come up with a logic or I have to make it very, very simple. That can be done, right, by the right initiating few functions or methods in a class, right? Here I am using something called as a self. What is this self? Class methods here or the functions, whatever you are using here. Okay, let's start understand self first. Okay, so we did not give a value for this parameter when we call the method. We just wrote self. So this is a keyword. It is used to all the instances in the class. For all the instances, you want to use this. What is the self? It's a keyword. Okay, self is nothing but it represents all the instances of the class. By using this self keyword, we can access the attributes. See here, first, last, salary, email. These are my attributes. And the methods also in the class. Right? Why we have to use this self dot? Because Python does not use that et symbol syntax here. So this is how you have to use your, it's nothing but it's always pointing to a current object, I can say, right? That is your self. Now what we have to do with this init, right? What we have to do with init? When we talk about init, it is a reserved method, right? It can be called when an object is created from a class, right? And the access is required to use this attributes. So what is this here? Init is something which is important here. It is just like, what we can say is, I can say that it is similar to like we have a constructors, right? To initialize the object state, right? It's to initialize. So it's a reserved word. It can be called whenever an object is created and access is required to initialize the attributes, right? So this is how I have to use it. This is how I should write any method also, right? Now, if at all you see here, I have given access using this. If at all I want to get access to this, I should write it in it. Then I have to write self dot first, self dot last, self dot salary, right? What does that mean here? So whenever you are using this, a constructor also will contain all the instructions, right? It is to run an object of class. This is another way. Self means to itself. Self means to itself. We are trying to do the changes. So here when we talk about these are the classes and the objects, right? All the classes will have a function to call as init. Whenever a class is initiated, right, this is always executed to assign values to the objects, right? So what is it? This is something we are using here. It is called automatically every time you are pulling it. Object can also contain methods. Methods in objects are the functions that belong to the objects. So object. Now what am I doing here? Class employee. I'm writing init self. This is how I have written. In a single line of code of my function, this is a custom defined function. I'm writing self leave it, first name, last name, salary. Like that, I can add one more employee name like this. How many employees are there? Instead of writing this complex way, we can write the employees details like this. And how do you want to pull it now? Tell me. Some A, comma, okay, right, comma, right. So this is because of this function, I'm able to pull the data in a single line of code. Right, see here. So what I will do, this is a constructor or object, I can say. This is obj, this is one obj, this is obj. Any information pertaining to this people, I can pull it. But what we did not write any email ID here. Right, let me change it to, instead of adding that, salary. Right, here also last name. So if I run it, see here, first employee's name, first employee's salary, second employee's last name. If at all you want to display them in this particular formatted way, print statements, print dot format, employee one first, employee one last. This employee one would come here, employee two should come here. Right? Combination. Right? What I can do, see here, I can, instead of writing it separately, this print statement, we have seen the other day, what is the use or the importance of writing custom function. See here, I can directly write a custom function here inside a class, right? Instead of using this print statement outside, right? I can write it here using a full name. Full name, this should return in this particular format. Anyway, I'm creating an object for employee class with the details, employee to details. So what I'll do, instead of pulling it like this, like first and all the salary and asking it to do it in this way, constructor, I am saying this is my object, respective full name is what I want. So we are putting different methods inside a class. This is one method. This is another method inside a class. See here. Every time we can't write 100 print statements, right? So you can write a method inside it. Right? Now, I would like to know what will be output of this. See here. This is a class. It is having multiple attributes, different methods, or you can say custom based functions inside this, right? Now comp1 is an object created for, okay, let me reduce the size little bit. Oh, right? So this is bike. For this I have to create an object. I'm creating an object. What are the attributes I can pass? Self is something for all this, miles per gallon, speed, length, and b. All these are passed here. So once we have created a class, we have to save it in a constructor. No, my comp1, just now I told you as obj, that is a constructor here. Using this constructor, I can pull any of these methods. I can pull this method, I can pull this method, or I can pull this method, or I can pull this method. This is one more way of writing it. I'm just saying config. I'm just saying config with a constructor. See here, what is there here? It has printed this 1000 cc ABS. I can pull get underscore miles per gallon. What it is having here? Self.mpg. Whatever self is having here, mpg value, that should be printed here. 55. This is a 55. And you can check here. This is your miles per gallon. What is the function you have written? Method get underscore mpg. Right? One more feature in this is inheritance. Now you have understood every class and a constructor or an object is required to use that object in a class. Right? Now how do you work? So if at all you are using self, why is self used? It is a reference to all the instances. These are instances in a class, instances or attributes, you can say. So it is used to access variables to the class. See here, this is self. It's easy for us now. Right? So this is how you have to do. Whatever you use it here, this self, that self should be first, dot should be the variables. Okay. Now we have something called as inheritance. What is inheritance? What is inheritance? It's just like, if at all we can take an example here. Inheritance is nothing but we generally, if at all we take a scenario of property of ancestors, right? Definitely people feel that ancestors' property is their own property. Suppose we'll take your property, right? And also your father's property is also your property, right? So directly from parent, a child is getting all the features, like whatever he has, right? He's getting all the features of the class. We're talking about the features now, like property is one feature, bike, car, whatever. By default, if at all you have a mobile phone, right? You have a mobile phone, your father's mobile phone also, you feel that you have full total control on your father's phone, right? Parent to child. All the parent class features are a part of child class features. Means you can use them. Whatever you have different methods, whatever you have written here, all can be used in the child class, right? But remember, parent, these people can connect easily. Parent is having a mobile, child is also having a mobile. Parent mobile, child feels that it is his own mobile. But child's mobile, he'll never allow the parents to touch it. Your phone is not your father's phone. So you can't go back, right, and get the features. So child class features, parent cannot use, right? Your father, you don't allow your father to use your mobile phone. Pura passwords. For every app you have password, fingerprint or very very strong password, right? This is how it works, right? So you have the many types of inheritances here, like single level, multi level, multiple inheritances, right? So whenever we call a parent class, this is the base class, right? Parent is a base class. Child class is something it inherits, it's a derived class, right? It is a derived class. So whenever we are talking about the inheritances, there are types now. Okay, you have types. So how do you use these types? Single inheritance, as I told you, to inherit the properties from parent class, whatever we have done, right? So that you can use the code reusability and addition of new features to the existing code, you can do it. Okay, all are yours. All are yours. Multiple, multiple. You are getting your grandfather's property, your father's property. You are the king now. A's properties, B properties, you are enjoying. We are becoming lazy. Isn't it? It's something like this. A from and B from, and this is you. C is you. So it's something that you can say you are getting your from your mother's father, you are getting from your father's father. Nanaji and Dada. Okay, this is your multiple. One more is there, multi-level, right? Features of base class and the derived class are further inherited to the new derived class. That is our grandfather to parent, parent to child. Base class, intermediary class, this is your derived class. Right? It means if at all you have your grandfather class, right? Your father is getting all your grandfather's property. And now the son will get all the father property. Means whatever are there here, he can use because you are writing like this. You can use your father's property. This is your multi-level. This is multi-level. Similar relationship of your child and a grandfather, right? So these are the different instances where you can use your inheritances. See here, initially now I've just written class A. I have written few methods in it, just defined it, right? Okay. And one more friends, this is multi-level what I told, but multiple what will happen is, for multiple, like if at all your grandfather property is coming to your father, right? And child. Father is not willing to share it with your child, which is son. This is multiple. This is also there in multiple. This guy, father is not willing to give it to you. Okay, that is also kind of multiple. Now see here, these are the, I'm just creating self. Okay, my product one is a function I have created, a method I have created. So simple class with no logic, like no particular math logic or something like that. It's a function. I have to create a constructor now. See here, A is what I have. A constructor is what I have created. Name underscore A. So if at all I want to use this product one, this particular function I have created, I just write dot product one. This is something which is we have studied earlier just now. See here, ID means this is a in memory. What is the memory ID allocated here for this name? The product one. Print product name one. Now, see the properties are getting inherited. You have created a class B and you are saying, hey, I want to have the inheritance of my father. Right? So what is that if you see here? B is having this property and this property, these two features. A's properties, product 1, product 2 are also you are asking it to inherit. So for that what you do, this is a new class, B being a subclass, A being your father. Superclass. What I can do, I have to create a constructor for name underscore B for B. I'm asking where this, what is a memory allocated ID here, and I'm just pulling product 3. This is a function which is, this is your property only. You are using your own mobile. There is nothing new in that. But if at all you are trying to use your father's mobile, this is this one, product 1. See here, product 1 would come here. Print product name 1. Product 1, what is that you have here? This is the one you have. It printed. So it has taken the properties of father. Father properties are into the son. This is inheritance. Right? Suppose now I have one more class. One more I have created. Class C. Okay. What is this class C? Class C is having 5 and 6 properties. 2 new properties have came. Right? 2 new properties are having. So if at all I do, this is simple, right? Nothing. This is a constructor for this class. Job done. Now, if at all I write here in this function B, if at all I write B, what it should do? It will get A properties and B properties also into C. Right? Now, what is that I'm saying? I have created a new class with D and I'm trying to pull A, the first class, and C. See here, first class and C. Right? Can I use the properties of A here? This is multiple, right? I can use it. A superclass, D is a superclass. In that I'm trying to get the A's features here. See here, product 1 belongs to A feature. Right? This is how you can use inheritance property of O, object-oriented programming language properties in Python. Inheritance. The other one is polymorphism. Right? What is this? What is this? Let's like you can give the names for your understanding purpose. You can write here as father, grandfather, son, right? You can give the names also. So hierarchical inheritance is also there where more than one derived classes are created from a single. We have parent, 2 childs are there. Right? You can do like that also. 2 childs are coming. Right? A with B, C, D. That is hierarchy. It maintains one hierarchy. All are interrelated, right? You will have two what you call it as parents. Sorry, two childs, one parent class. My bad. Class of parent, right? You will have class of child 1. So he will get the properties of this. Again, you have child 2. He will also get the properties of this. He can use in brackets parent. I want the parent class features. Right? These are the various inheritances, friends. So let us understand what is polymorphism. Right? What is polymorphism in Python? Right? So definitely in OOPS programming, polymorphism defines the ability to take different forms. Right? It is nothing but the different ways you can respond to one particular function. Right? In Python, you can define different methods in the child class with the same name, whatever you have defined in the father's class. You have created a father's class. You have defined different methods. This method name you can again use in the child class also. Same name. Suppose you have given name function. So same name, you can use it here also. This is father's class, this is child class. What is this one? This is taken from Greek word that is polymorphism. This is poly means many. This is your forms. Same function names can be used in different types. This makes your programming more easier. A child class is inheriting all the methods from the parent class. So the method inherited from the parent's class does not, maybe it would not fit in the child class. So you have to re-implement that method in the child class also. So polymorphism can be done, right, by taking an object also. So let us understand it here. See, I have a length function, right? This is same length. I am using it for a string. I am using it for a list, right? See here, right? And if at all I'm writing a custom function, right? I'm writing a custom function. What is that I have here? Add x comma y z equal to 0. I'm asking you have to add all this, right? Add is something I'm using here with two values, x and y, z is not given. It works. 2, 3, z equal to 4, right? Both way it will work. So add is something you are using either ways. If the concept is used with class methods, see here now, class is India. I'm writing the method is capital, I'm writing the method language and type. You can add attributes as self1, self dot. How many attributes you want to add, you can add it after self, right? So I have three particular, the same three, capital, language and type. I use it here also in a different class. This is nothing but your polymorphism. You are writing the information about USA, Washington, here English and USA. But remember the concept of whatever you have studied, the class and the object is same, friends. India, you have the object, this one. For USA class, this is the constructor. Right? To print the output, we are saying for country in this, two constructors, right? I'm saying capital, I'm saying language, I'm saying type, right? So it should understand now, right, which one I am trying to prefer. So it has to take country. I should go with this print the capital. I should go with this, print the language. It is also asking what is a type. Type is something which gives you the data type. See here. New Delhi, Hindi, India is a developing country. Then it took Washington details. Right? Don't confuse. This type is shown in different color just because it is also a keyword, right? You can give a different name here. Different name here, type. Okay. So it has finished. For loop, we have seen for loops, right? It has finished all the objects, all the attributes, or all the print statements of constructor, what you have called for India class. Then it went to USA class. It has printed one after the other. Right? All the three. Right? Now, see here. Just because you may, we can give like this also. Okay, like we can give a different names. See here, class squared, side equal to 5. I'm asking it to write, do the calculation of area of a square, s square. So whatever the self is having, side, self dot side multiplication. S square na, triangle, half, base into height. Two things I have declared here. Now constructors should be created. For square, you have SQ. For triangle, you have TRI. Now I'm asking them to print that particular functions. See here. What is that I have here? I have this and I have this. From SQ dot calculate area underscore square, TRI dot calculate underscore a different function name you have given. So it will print for us. See here. What will happen if at all you are giving different? Did it throw error for us? No, it will not throw us any error. That it does not throw any error for us. Right? So what is that you should understand here is it's we should not create any confusion. Different functions, right? Different functions with different names calculating the area of the given shapes. Right? So what does it mean? Is it throwing an error? No. But what is the problem with this approach is that the developer, the person who has written the code, has to remember name of the each function separately. For that reason, you can give same names. Right? Same names. But how you are differentiating it, whether it is a square area or a triangle area, it is how they create. They will identify. They go to square, they print, they go to this function, this class they go, they take the defined function there, they print the output. Just because to avoid the confusion, how many functions I have written, what function I have written, this is a simple code. But how many things you remember, how many you notify or you write it. Right? This way also we can do it. Right? Did I done it? Okay. See here. Same way, same answer, same way, but the different function names what were there were replaced with this names. You can also have polymorphism with inheritance. See here, I have written intro flight. Again, I have created a class with different print statements, sparrow and ostrich. Right? I'm getting the properties of bird here, inheritance. Right? And I'm taking ostrich. Right? I'm inheriting the properties of bird into ostrich class. But if you see here, flight is something I'm using continuously, flight, flight, flight. So what I'm doing here, for all the three classes, bird is a class, sparrow is a class, ostrich is a class. For all that, I should create instances for respective classes, object for bird, object for sparrow, object for ostrich. So if I run this, bird flight, bird, go to flight. This should be printed for us. Most of the birds can fly, but some cannot. If I'm not wrong, let's see the answer. Oh, we did not run it, right? My bad. Most of the birds can fly, but some cannot. Now, SPR, go to sparrow class, take the flight. Sparrows can fly. Go to ostrich, right? What is the function I'm asking it to do? Flight. Ostrich cannot fly, right? This is how you can inherit the properties along with polymorphism concept, right? This is one more example, right? See here. I've just imported, like we know many packages, right? Math is also one of the library which is giving us pi. So I have defined self and name. I've defined area, nothing in that. I have defined a fact. I'm saying that I have a two-dimensional shape, and I'm defining one more keyword, str, return self.name. Again, one more with same functional names. Again, one more class, but I'm taking the shape into square, square, same shape into circle, right? So I can create constructors. I have to pull the constructors and I have to run it. So what will be the answer for a equal to square of 4? What will be the answer for this? Both the classes, if you see, here we are having one is a square as well as circle. And what is that other one we have here? Shape, right? Shape. So just because I have used here pi, I have added here pi, na? Because of that. If I don't run that, it will throw me an error, right? So square is one class, circle is another class, right? Constructors, I can say. If I run it, see here, first, what is that first one? These are the constructors. So print B, right? Circle, right? It should print a circle. Then we are saying B dot fact, right? Where we have this here. I'm a two-dimensional space. Then I have squares have each angle to equal to 90 degrees. A dot fact. What is my A here? Square. It got squared output printed. Right? B dot area. What is my B? Circle. It printed the output. It's just one more example for your polymorphism with inheritance. So what is that we have understood today? Class, how you can use object-oriented programming functionality here with Python. So the attendance link is posted, friends, right? And please complete your attendance and also please complete the quiz, right, which is already posted on LinkedIn, right? Please complete your attendance, friends. So tomorrow we don't have any session, right? We will be connecting again on Monday, right? 5 to 6 p.m. There is no session tomorrow and day after tomorrow, right? So please complete the attendance here. So we have to see about multi-threading, right? One more feature here. Multi-threading is one more feature with respect to Python programming. Okay, thank you all for joining the session. Please practice, right? While you practice, please type in practice, complete the quiz. Thank you once again. Have a great weekend, friends.